Hello, beautiful listeners. This is Joanna from Mindful Counseling, also known as JDS Counseling. You can check out my recorded webinars on JDS Counseling YouTube, where I discuss some of the things that are associated with mental health and our daily struggles. Now, I figured today's topic would be a good idea to talk about being selfish or consciously aware. And I figured I decided to actually choose this topic today because I realized that today, and today only, I have absolutely nothing to do for the next 2 hours. And as I go through my schedule and I look at my daily responsibilities associated with work and clients and recordings and family time, I realize of how little time I actually have for myself. So to be aware, and as I sit here today questioning, am I selfish or am I just consciously aware? And I wonder how much and how often does that actually come up for most of us. And what I mean by that, for all of us who have the personalities of always doing, always running around, taking care of our jobs and daily tasks and our children, our partners, our families, our home life, and whatever extra other activities there might be, is that we sometimes question, where is it that we would like to have time for ourselves? And sometimes we even complain, and this is quite common, where we say we do not have time. Now, do we not have time or do we not make time? I think is a question. So here, like I said, the part of having some time for yourself, and is it considered being selfish or being consciously aware? Are you going to run around for the next 2 hours or for however much time you might actually have, mindfully have, for yourself, and what is it that you're going to do with it? Are you going to fit all of your extra other responsibilities that you might have on your list, on your plate, which, mind you, we always have them. The list never ends because whatever we complete tomorrow, new things will come up tomorrow. So that always will exist because that's part of life, is having things to do and completing them and waking up the next day and having other things to do. It's a cycle that we're always in. So like I said, once again, go back to being selfish or selflessly, mindfully, and consciously aware. So here I have 2 hours where I can do absolutely anything or absolutely nothing. Now, 2 hours can sound like a lot for some of us, thinking if we don't want to do anything for 2 hours, and that's 2 hours of a wasted time, some of us might say. Or we can actually say that's 2 great hours of relaxation, mindfulness, relaxation, and whatever it is that you choose to do. So my thought today was, why not? And I'm not going to give myself 2 hours of that, just because I also don't think that might be beneficial in so many ways, and maybe I'll get to it in another episode. But I'm going to watch some television to catch up on some of my shows, which I started probably 2 years ago, and why not just catch up on some of the things today, whatever it is that I remember, and moving on from there. And as I'm aware that I will do this, and as I'm aware that I am recording this because I figured it would be a good topic for most of us, is questioning, is this selfish of me that I am sitting here and wanting to do nothing? Questioning whether or not I should go exercise. Questioning or not if I should, whatever that list is that most of us have, whether it's to do laundry, clean the house, make dinner, take care of maybe a family member that needs help. And of course, maybe some of those things we have to also prioritize. But is it selfish of me that I'm sitting here on the couch for the next, I don't know, let's say an hour? So is it or is it not? And what would most of you think of it? How is it that you would spend 2 hours of your time doing absolutely nothing, where you know that you have nothing on your schedule? And can it feel good or can it feel anxious? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times when we sit down and we have nothing to do, we find things to do, because most of us do not like to sit down and do nothing, because that means we have to think. And naturally, our brains do not stop working. They're always going. Our bodies might stop sitting down and laying down, but our brains will always go on. So most of the time I hear, whether it's colleagues, whether it's friends, clients, and everybody else around me, including myself, sometimes we don't like to sit. Why? Because we think. Now, this is why I sometimes like to question, is it so wrong to think? Thinking is just thoughts. Thoughts that come in, things and thoughts that we sometimes know there might be meaningful, and sometimes they're just thoughts, and we have plenty of them. So sitting down for some of us might look good, for some of us may not necessarily look good. So once again, I'm just going back to asking you the question, how is it that you would like to spend your 2 hours where you know you have absolutely nothing to do, where you know you can do whatever it is that you would like to do? And think about it. I know as I say this, some of you might actually fantasize about what is it that you would do. What is it that you can allow yourself to do? And how realistic does it sound? I know sometimes when we fantasize, our thoughts go into many different locations and places, and they may not be necessarily always realistic in the present moment, and that's fine. But ask yourself, what is it that you would do? And what is it that you can actually do? Given the circumstances, I don't know if I could say necessarily given the circumstances of COVID, or just in general where you're located and what your life situation at the moment is. What I mean by recording this and by saying this is that I know that my schedule is always packed. It has a lot of things to do on it, and sometimes I do find myself running around when it comes to certain tasks. However, I am also able to check in, and if not most of the time, at times where I need to slow down. Certain things on my list do not need to be completed today. They could be completed later on today or tomorrow. We have to learn how to prioritize our responsibilities and tasks. What do we feel like is urgent? And what do we feel like can wait? And I think that's such an important factor for us. Not to shift up to a different topic, but oftentimes we have certain responsibilities and expectations, whether it is from ourselves, but also the expectations from others, where maybe it might be difficult to get those 2 hours or an hour or even 30 minutes for ourselves. So once again, be mindful. When you find yourself in a moment where, I don't know, a class gets canceled, or maybe you come from work an hour early, whatever it is that gives you that 1 hour, 30 minutes, or whatever it may be, an extra time. Now, listen, I'm not going to tell you to take a whole day for yourself. If you want, go for it. Maybe that's a good thought too. I cannot necessarily tell you to not to, now that I say this out loud. It's because some of us might actually need a whole day off. Well, why not? What I'm saying is, do we find ourselves questioning whether or not it is good that we take some time off for ourselves? And do we have to, or do we feel guilty by doing nothing? Do we feel selfish by doing this for ourselves when yet we're doing everything for everybody else? I know it sounds like there's a lot in here in this recording, but once again, check in with yourself, your own responsibilities, whether it is as a child, as a parent, as a friend, and what things do you do on a daily basis? I actually encourage writing them down, and you'd be surprised how many things you do day to day. And that goes from waking up to showering, to brushing your teeth, to eating, to drinking, to exercising and working and making phone calls. If you ever want to write down a list of things that you do just in one day, you would be surprised how many things you actually come across and how important it is for you to take a step back and to check in with yourself. Where is it that you can rest? So, am I selfish or just consciously aware that I am just going to sit down for the next 45 minutes and enjoy the TV show that I might want to watch, or a movie, or maybe listen to some music and dance away because nobody's home? That's going to be my time. And I can allow myself this time because it belongs to me. And nobody can take that away from me. So, until next time, be well and be safe.